Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about my process using Adobe Animate. Specifically, I'm going to show you from start to finish how I'm going to animate this book falling animation. And I'm also going to show you all the basics of Adobe Animate, or at least all the specific tools that I needed to make this animation. But to be more clear, this tutorial is for artists who already know how to animate and have a program that they like to animate in. Or maybe they don't animate, but they want to make the moving images that I did, where the drawing is done, but you've separated it into parts, like the bug with the antenna moving around. Basically, you can be an illustrator and animate with Adobe Animate without actually having to make animations. Before we get into the tutorial, I want to explain all of the basics of Adobe Animate and basically all the buttons and things I'll be interacting with and all the things that I need to make an animation with this program. So for starters, there's the stage, there is the timeline, which is where all of the images will be going and all the animation work will be happening. Within the timeline, there is this area, which is where I'll only be really using these 5 buttons. I don't really need to use anything else, and I haven't gotten so far into using Adobe Animate that I need to use anything more than these. So for starters, there's add layer, and then if you happen to be using a lot of layers, you're going to want to be able to add folders and organize all of those different layers. And then of course there's the trash, which will delete a layer or a folder, whatever it is you're highlighted on. And then next is the camera, which is pretty useful. It's kind of hard to explain what it does, but basically any movement that is going on the timeline, you can be even more specific with the camera and move around like outside of the boundaries of those layers and folders. And then there is lock layer, which I use whenever I'm working on one layer and I don't want another layer to accidentally move around. On the far right are the library and properties, which are the only 2 things that I use on this side of the Adobe Animate. Obviously the library is your files. It's everything you import, all your illustrations, your art, your animations. And then properties, it does cool stuff. Nothing much else to say. I'll explain that when I am animating. And then on the far left, there's just your regular control when you're clicking regular things. It's hard to explain what regular things are when it's just something you automatically are using. But what's really important next to the regular control is the transform tool, which does very different things than the regular control. And why not, I'll explain all the little things, all these little buttons above the timeline. So the play button, the loop button, which just loops any bit of animation you want. This little square with the little subtraction on it is delete or removes frame. And it will remove any frame that you want. Removing keyframes can be a little more difficult though. Now the button with the horizontal line adds frames. And the button with the black circle, like the filled in circle, adds keyframes, which are more important than a regular frame, I suppose. And in between those 2 is the button with the hollow circle, which adds a blank keyframe. Adding a blank keyframe versus a regular keyframe, there is a difference, and honestly it's hard to explain, so I will get more into it when we are in the tutorial process. The reason I didn't go over every little button and every little tool is because I just don't use them, or I don't use them nearly often enough that I think it's worth telling you about. To make working in Adobe Animate easier for me, I have this little note card on my desk with all these different keyboard shortcuts. The basic tools are the ones that I'm using quite often, and I think that these ones you do need to go in and add them to your keyboard shortcuts. As for the important tools, the main thing that they all have in common is that they are automatically part of Adobe. Like, you don't have to add them to your keyboard shortcuts. And they all do something that's more complicated than the basic tools. I find these tools very useful, and I'm using them pretty often as well. So I promised I'd show you my process from start to finish. So here's the animation, or sorry, not animation, the speed paint that I used in Clip Studio of my process of animating the book. The actual process took about an hour long. Let me know if you're interested in me uploading that whole 1 hour. I don't talk in it, it's just a 1 hour process of me animating in Clip Studio. But I did want to show you this so that you could see that I work in Clip Studio and that this is what I'm comfortable working in, and that it's possible to basically animate all your frames outside of Adobe and to import them into Adobe. Just letting you know, this is actually the very first time I've ever animated a book before. I don't even have a lot of memories of drawing books, so this is proof that you can animate anything that you put your mind to. I did find a reference for a book falling on Google Images, and then from there I just kind of used my imagination and imagined that the pages would be lifting up. And after that I went through the process of animating the cover. I originally wasn't going to animate the cover moving, but I decided to after all. Also, it's good to note that I made this animation with just 5 frames. Basically, 2 frames of the book starting to move, an in-between frame, and then 2 in its final position. By making 2 frames that are very, very close or similar to each other, you can create the illusion of a quick motion or a very simple motion. I can't believe this. I went through the whole process to show you guys all the little buttons that I use, and I forgot like 3 of them. It's probably just because they're so forgettable, because I use them that often. Anyway, so first off, there's this little guy up in the corner, says 100%. This allows you to zoom in and out of the stage. I prefer about 50% or lower because I just want to be able to see my animation the best I can. 25 feels a little far away. I tend to prefer like 35 or 40. Also, there is this button, which is clip content outside of the stage. It's kind of, you can't really see what it does right now, but I will be using it later. And then there is this guy, which is resize timeline view, and if you watch, that's what it does. I'm going to just record my process of putting that book in there. So I have a vague idea of what I want it to look like. So hopefully by just recording the raw process of me doing this, you will see exactly how I animate in Adobe. So I just know that I want it to start here. So to start off, we're going to click F. And for some reason, when you click on F, which is, what is F? Insert blank keyframe. Right after a tween, it will be purple, which means that it's a tween. So we're going to remove classic tween. We're going to do that here too. Right click, remove classic tween. And let me just listen to the music and decide how long I want this to last. So like right here. So we're going to click F5, which is insert frame. So I have keyboard shortcuts, which I should probably show you how to do keyboard shortcuts. But you can also just click on this guy. This guy does the same thing. So let's say I wanted it to be here. I could click on this. It does the exact same thing. And then I press Z to undo. But I prefer my shortcuts because I've gotten so used to them. So if you want to add some shortcuts that aren't already automatically in Adobe, I'm pretty sure F5, F6, and F8 are already in Adobe. But undo, remove frames, and insert blank frames are not. So what you want to do is go up to Edit. You're going to click on Keyboard Shortcuts at the bottom, and here you can just look up the ones that you want. So I recommend remove frames, which I would put D here, but I'm having this issue where it's just not working. Which it doesn't have to be D; it could be whatever you're comfortable with. Where I set my hand on my keyboard, D is just in a good spot and it's easy to click on. And I've just memorized that number or that letter as remove frame. Let's see. And then there is undo, Z. I already have it set as Z because that's, if you're more comfortable with Control Z, you can change it. And then insert blank frame, keyframe. Sorry, I wrote, yeah, it's keyframe. I keep mixing up keyframe and frame, and I'm really sorry about that. So F, it's really, D and F are really like right next to each other on the keyboard, so it just means that I don't have to click very far away to access these. So for starters, I want to just start by getting in the background. So I'm going to lock any layers that I'm not using, and I'm going to unlock background. So again, the way I put these in here is I press the plus button, which creates a new layer. I don't have any folders right now because I just don't need them. I don't have enough layers to bother doing that. Let's go to our library, and I haven't even imported any of the frames yet because I wanted to show you exactly how I would do this. So we're going to go to File. I apologize about my birds. We're going to go File, Import, Import to Library. Do not import the stage. Just don't. It's just going to make a mess. It's easier to put it in the library and then move out which ones you need. Of course, if you are more skilled than me with Adobe and you see the potential of using import to stage, then don't listen to me. Okay, so we want this background, and then we don't want this one. I just saved this one because I like to do that. That's just a preference. Then we're going to press Control, and we're going to select all the books, and just click Open. And because I have what I named it, it should be right here. There it is. Book 1.1 and all of those. Where that little circle is at, the circle with nothing in it, this hollow circle, we're gonna throw in this background. As you can see, it's a little off, so we're going to pull this over. You want to have selection tool. That's what it's called. Selection tool selected right now. And you see how these little white lines pop up? It helps. Those are there to assist you in making sure that everything is aligned. And auto recovery, you should have auto recovery happening every 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. I'm going to lock the background. We're going to leave it as it is for now. I don't know if I want to make it move around at all. There's not a lot. The background's pretty dang simple. It's just a gradient, so any movement won't be that noticeable anyways. It might not be noticeable at all, depending. To make this book move, not only to import the animation that we did, that I did, but also to make it move around, like have the book falling through the stage, this here, we need to make a symbol, which is F8. We're not going to do that yet, but first we need to put in just one of the frames. It doesn't matter what you put in, preferably it should be the first frame of the animation. So now that's in there. This is light gray. Now that's a keyframe, as you can see, it's filled in. We're gonna click on that, and we're gonna click on F8. And then we're gonna name it something. Name it book. Make sure to name your symbols because it gets really confusing really quickly if you don't. So all your symbols are where this little 3-leaf clover is at. And there it is, book. So your symbols are, I was pretty intimidated by the idea of what symbols were, but they're actually really awesome. They're it's very useful, this white void. Basically, we have a fresh new timeline, and whatever we do in this timeline will play over and over again on the main timeline. If you want to get back to the main timeline, you just press this little arrow here, and we're back. But we do want to be there, so we're going to go back to the book. Let me show you what I mean by it playing over and over again. So we're going to click. Yeah, I'll make it a little bigger. We're going to click at, like, I don't know, 5. We're going to press F5, which makes this last longer. So right after that, we're going to click F, and we get ourselves a blank frame. And then we are going to put in book number 2. Because of this weird blank white void that we're in, they put this little plus mark here to help you anchor where the center of the stage is. So I'm just gonna, or the corner of the stage, I mean, and that. So I just moved that over to the little plus. So now we have this. Now I'm gonna go over to 10, and we're gonna do F5. And if we play it, that's it. But let me show you what this looks like on the main timeline. Let's mute the music for now. As you can see, it's just gonna play that over and over again, that little motion. We don't want that, so I'm gonna show you how I would go about fixing this. I'm gonna go to book. I do have to kind of imagine what I want. We're gonna start off, just based on my instinct of using this a lot, I'm gonna start off by giving us a bit more space here, which just means that the animation spends more time on this first frame. But now let's get into the meat of it and let's get those other frames in. So your library should be open on the side. Locate your next frame, throw it in, align it. Okay. Make it last longer with F5. Next blank frame. Throw in the next animation. F5. I say animation, I mean frame, sorry. F5, book 5, F5. A lot of F5ing. I use F5 a lot. What happened here? Z. Oh, what did I click on? I should have done F5. Okay. Sometimes you might accidentally make a keyframe and it'll be the exact same keyframe as the keyframe you used prior, and that can get pretty annoying. What you would want to do is probably remove frames, or I'm pretty sure there's a way to clear frame. Like, how would I get rid of this? See, that didn't really do what I wanted. Let's say I wanted to get rid of this. It's not as simple. Either you could do that, you could delete all of them. But if you wanted to, let's say this is like super long, and you want to get rid of this, and you don't want to go through the process of like highlighting it, you should be able to just delete this, and it'll remove everything. Cut frames. See, that's not right. Oh, there. It's clear frames. So now that that keyframe's gone, it's now going to assume the most recent keyframe. Bam. Let's watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all of them. That's pretty cute. Okay. So obviously the last frame is it's gonna spend more time on that last frame. So I'm gonna press D on the keyboard. I forgot my D. I forgot the D on my keyboard's not working. So we're gonna use remove frames. We're gonna use the button. I don't know how long I want this. It's trial and error. Is that too slow? Let's remove a few of these. I do want it to be slow. I want it to feel like the book is falling in slow motion and slightly turning. That's my goal for today. That's cute. Whoops, I accidentally set up a loop. I do like that. We're gonna go back to the main timeline and we're gonna save, because you should be saving a lot ago. This whole file got corrupted. Like, the original file got corrupted and I lost all of my progress and I had to reanimate everything. Like, all the drawings were done, but I had to put everything back into here and move it around, make all symbols all over again. It was a mess. So now, as you can see, I have a lot of backups. So we're gonna go on ahead and update one of these backups right now. Actually, I'm gonna update 3 of them. We'll update backup 2 as well. Don't go and update all of your backups unless you know for sure that it's not corrupted. The way you can find out if your file is corrupted or not is by closing Adobe and reopening it. If it reopens just fine, it's probably not corrupted. It's probably safe to save and update your backups. Still, I do have one backup that I haven't updated in a few days, and I'm not going to. It's my safe because I don't know. I'm gonna listen to the music. I'm gonna make some instinctual decisions. Okay, I do like that it opens up right at that middle beat. I feel like it could be a little faster, so I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna remove one on each. The reason why this last one is so long is because if it's too short, I'll show you. If this is too short, so cut frames, oh my god, whatever. I guess that's fine. If we do that, let me show you what happens in the real timeline. Disappears. It disappears. We don't want that. So I'm gonna undo. Whoops. So I Z'd a bunch of times until I saw it again. And now this is back. You can, so if you decide to undo something and you've been switching between the symbol void and the main timeline, it will just keep undoing whatever work you did, even if you're not within that symbol, within this place. So, yeah. If you have any questions, I'll try to explain or answer them in the comments below. Okay. Let's actually watch it now that I made it a little faster. Now I kind of liked how it looked before. Whoops, which one did I open up? Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. I kind of liked how it looked before. So if you want to make these longer, just click anywhere. You can click on the keyframe. You can click on the last frame. Just click F5. It will make it last longer by 1 frame. I don't know. I think that's pretty good. Let's just leave it as it is now and get to the process of making it fall. And I also want it to kind of turn. I've never done an animation like this before in Adobe, where something is falling and also turning. So I'm kind of excited, actually, to try this out. So, to make things move, we are going to right-click the keyframe, and we're going to create Classic Tween. So, in this stage, this is actually really important because I make this mistake all the freaking time. Right now, during this point where you see all these little dots and there's no other keyframes, you see how it's this black dot and no other big black dots, just the tiny ones? Right now, have the keyframe selected, switch over to Free Transform, and if you're moving a small object, like we are, this is when you need to change this circle and move this somewhere. So, preferably in the center of the item. So, let me show you. So, if I want to turn it right now, we can go into the corner and that little turn symbol will be there. You see how it's twisting from that circle? Well, let me show you what would happen if we had left it like right around here, which is where it originally was. Now it's going to circle around there. And I mean, if that's what you want, if you want it to circle around a specific space, like maybe you want to make like a animation of like items floating around a room, then maybe you would put this circle in the center of the room and have the items floating around from there. But we don't want that. We want the item is our priority. So let me just undo real quick. Get back to our original position. There we go. And it's when you see these little dots, that's when you need to move this circle over. Because, also you can't do it if you have this selected. If you have the regular tool selected, it's just going to move the whole thing around. We want transform selected. So now we can go to the very end and click F6, which will create our other keyframe. So now our tween has been made, but we haven't made it move yet. I'm going to mute the music again. So, I want the book to be falling. So obviously, the first position should be farther up. So you can press shift if you want something to move perfectly, like up or down, or if you want it to stay the same size. Like if you want to make this book smaller, you'd press shift on your keyboard and it would keep its original dimensions. Let's say I didn't press shift. Well, you can see it's very, very easy to distort it, so shift is your best friend. You can also hold shift again, like I explained, when you want to move things up or down or sideways. So, now this is our opportunity for me to explain this button. So you see how we can see these pages here? If we want to see what it will look like when it's exported, the animation's done, and it's in YouTube or wherever you're posting, you click on this. And now you can see, you know, I think this is pretty self-explanatory what this button is doing. You know, you're seeing what the final product will be like. For now, we're going to keep it unselected. I don't know, because I want to. Ooh, See how nice and smooth that was? Actually, I will select it because I do want to imagine what it will look like in its final form. So right now, this movement's pretty boring. You see how it's moving all the way to this original position? And the animation is happening? Isn't that so great? I love Adobe Animate. But that movement is pretty boring. Remember I said I wanted it to like twist and turn and stuff, so let's go to the last keyframe and let's just turn it. Let's see what that looks like. I'm curious. Oh my god, it's so cool. This is awesome. Actually, okay, I want this to be more like right here. And maybe turn it just a little more. Oh my god, this is so cool. Whoa. Oh, I love it. I want the fall to be a little shorter, so let's pull this down. That's so cool. Okay, I'm gonna listen to it with the music now. Yeah, we won't be needing to move the background. I think the background should be stagnant for this one. Oh, I love it. I actually love it. Like, now I'm starting to think that see, this is what's great, is you can move back and forth and make changes at any stage. So I think I'm gonna press delete. We're gonna make it, I want the animation to start sooner. I want the book, the pages to move sooner now that I've watched it. Oh, that's kind of cool. But now I feel like, now I kind of changed my mind, see. I'm not sure. I kind of want this animation overall to be happening a little quicker, so we're going to pull this down even more. Now it will be faster. That is cute. I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. Finally, I'm going to show you what Properties does. So, under Properties, there's really only one thing that I use under here right now, which is under Tweening right here. So I'm going to just close all this other stuff. Just Tweening. This is all that I work with as of now. It should say Properties together. Not sure why that is, but that is what I've had it on. And then you can click on any part of the tween at the beginning, in the middle, and you just go to Effect and you change the effect. So automatically it's going to be a no ease or a classic ease, which just means that it falls without any change in velocity. If we do ease in, then the velocity will be slower in the beginning and faster near the end. So let me show you. See how cool that is? But I don't know if that's what I want, so let's try ease out instead. And we do quad, it's like this, it's like the least extreme version of this movement. That is kind of nice. Like, it starts falling, then it slows down. I did say I wanted it to have a feeling of slow motion. So that does do exactly what I want, because it slows down and allows the audience to take in this image. I feel like it's still not that center, so I'm gonna move this over like that much. Now it feels like it's going on a curve, so move that over a little bit. Does this feel centered? It's kind of, I think it feels centered to me, so. But now that I moved it over, this one also feels a little off. So we'll move this over a little bit. That way it's falling in a straight line. I don't want it to be falling like this. That's crazy. I mean, that would be maybe if someone was throwing it, maybe. But we want it to fall straight down. That's what I want. Okay. Let me also show you ease in and out, which is easing in and easing out. Which is nice too. I like that a lot. So the slowest part of the animation is right in the middle. Right when the pages move too, which might be what we want. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I like to ease out more. Okay, I'm gonna save because I'm really scared of it crashing and me losing the stuff. I like ease out more. I think I do. Do I want it to fall a lot more? Like a lot slower? I don't know. I don't think I do. And do I want this a little lower maybe? So it's okay to not like to be happy and then to continue to test out different motions of whatever you want. Let's set up a loop. So I'm gonna click on the loop, and then up here you can move this. You can select what part you want it to loop. So now we can just watch it and take it in and decide if that's what we like. Let's again, I like to just try out different things. For some reason, so if you loop something in the main timeline, it's gonna have it selected in here in the symbol, so I have to unloop that. I'm gonna do F5 like twice. I know, crazy. Let's see what it looks like. It's gonna be really slow now. Hold on. That's pretty cool. Let's delete the middle one. Make the middle frame go by more quickly. I like that pages are falling very slow. It's a very slow frame rate. I don't mind a slow frame rate if it gets the feeling that I want. I don't mind. But otherwise, I'd say we were done, but I haven't used the camera tool, and I think we should use the camera tool. I think it would benefit this. Do I want it to zoom in or zoom out? Well, since the last animation zoomed out, we'll have this one zoom in because I like that. So click on camera. We want this is like the camera tool. We want this to show up. If it's not there, you might have to unclick and re-click. It won't remove any camera motions you've made beforehand, luckily. But it's a quick way to get this to come up if you can't find it. So you can see this is the camera layer. And the camera layer acts like any other layer where you can make tweens and stuff. But what's great is that, like I said, it's not restrained to anything. And I'll explain that right now, or I'll show you. So we want the camera to move within this boundary. So we're going to do F right on the outside because we want it to go from here to here. So let's right click and create classic tween. There's no like little dot or anything because this is just a camera. This is not like a layer. So what did I say? I wanted it to move. I want it to zoom in. When you want something to zoom in, the first frame should be as normal. Remember now we do F6. We want the second frame to be zoomed in. So as you can see, the camera will zoom in on anything that's happening on the timeline, no matter what tweens, no matter what symbols you've created, which can be really useful. For some reason, this is still a black dot. I'm not sure how to make it a keyframe other than like moving this around a little bit. And then when I move this around a little bit, now it's become a black dot. For some reason, it's still not. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's totally lagging. Okay, there it goes. So now we've got this zoom in, which now not only is the book falling and panning downward with a ease out, it's also zooming in, which is very interesting. It just adds interest. So let's zoom in like a bunch, like a lot, so I can really show you how cool this can look. Like, whoa, like we're zooming in a lot. We can't zoom in any farther than this because that's how big I made the canvas, but we can zoom in a lot. A lot. Whoa, whoa. Does it have an ease? It almost feels like it has an ease. It doesn't. Why are all these highlighted? Okay, it's just lagging because I have OBS open and Adobe, and these are both pretty huge programs. I don't like that at all. I'm just using that as an example. I'm going to click on this so I can see how much I'm zooming out exactly. We only want it to zoom in a tiny bit. It might not even be that noticeable. I'm going to click on that so I can see. what I want it to zoom out instead. So we start off zoomed in and then we end up more zoomed out. I don't know. I don't know if I really need the camera. I think it might be okay on its own. In general, I liked it better zoomed in, though, so we'll just leave it as that for now. And then when I'm in the process of finishing this animation, and I'm more watching it, and I'm getting a feel with the music, I'll then decide if I leave this camera here or not. But otherwise, the tutorial's pretty much done. Thank you for watching for 30 minutes. I imagine it was going to take a long time if I wanted to just relax and show you my process. So thank you for sticking through if you did. I hope that you are no longer scared to use Adobe Animate. I imagine there'll still be a lot of like little things you'll run into and it will confuse you. That's why I try to show you some silly mistakes that I make, or some silly mistakes I made in the past until I learned, like the F6 and the little dot and the transform tool, all those little things. Here's the final animation. I don't know if I'm going to be posting this before or after Treehouse is finished. I imagine after. I could be wrong. Anyways, check out my other animations. I've only made 2 with Adobe Animate. This is my second one. So, by animations I mean this whole entire project, not just this book. This is called Treehouse, because the song was called Treehouse. The other one I did was called Dangerous Love, and it is 18 and up. There is nudity, so watch with precaution. It's pretty short, but it was a fun, quick way. Most of the animations, quote animations, in Dangerous Love are not animations. They're just drawings just being zoomed in very cleverly. So I hope that way you can see how versatile Adobe Animate is. Next up, I need to learn Adobe After Effects. That'll be something else. God, one day for sure. Alright, goodbye.